Welcome back to the Let's Get Latin, a spicy motivational show that helps women find their identity, find who they truly are so that they can have everything they want. Guys, on this episode, we're going to talk about how did we lose our identities just because we had kids, got married, and what happened to us. So let's go. Let's get loud. All right, welcome back, Abby. This is Abby. I am your host of the Let's Get Latin Ladies show. I am super excited. Today, we are going to talk about our identity. Have we lost our identity when it comes to being a woman after we have children, after we get married? But before we get into that, I want to introduce my amazing co-host who's going to be doing this show with me every single time. I'm super excited. Not only is she an author, has amazing experience, but here's the best part. She's my sister. Woo-woo! So here's Diana. Everybody welcome her. Let's go.
Hey guys, my name is Diana, and like my sister said, we're family. I'm a published author. I have worked in behavioral health for over 12 years. I have a lot of experience in a lot of topics that we're going to be talking about. And most importantly, I am a professional Latina and mother and sister all day, every day.
Yeah, that's right. We are the Latinas. They're going to come and infiltrate your world, ladies. Okay. Here's the deal. This show is about finding support, finding community, finding your voice, and just learning how to become who you really want to be. Okay. Because let's be real, in our life, all the things that we have gone through, we tend to change as women, don't we? And we allow other people to change us sometimes. So, this episode, we're going to break down what happens to us sometimes after we have kids, after we get married, in our life, and our life almost revolves around other people, and we kind of lose ourselves, right? So, Diana, talk to me. Let's talk about the challenges and the joys of parenthood and marriage. What has your experience been? I know you have five, six kids. Girl, I can't even keep count.
Six, somewhere around there. No.
So tell me.
Six. No.
I know. So first, let me ask you, do you feel like your identity changed after you got married and after you had kids?
Oh, absolutely. So for my experience, I'm not the same person I was prior to having children or relationship, marriage definitely, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because we kind of evolve and we change, or sometimes we hit like a rough patch of trying to figure out who we are again. And then we realize we can't really go back to who we were before we had kids, but we can still kind of grow even further in the direction we want to go.
Yeah.
But as far as like the challenges and the joys, definitely the joys are, having a precious life that it gives unconditional love and you can love unconditionally, and having that partnership in a relationship, that's always the benefits. Challenges for me personally were, like you said, losing your sense of identity. A lot of times, like, we have to worry about not forgetting about our own passions and maybe like chasing our spouses passions or hobbies, or like goals, and we kind of fall back in the background somewhere, or like putting our children and making them our whole world, so we kind of like neglect ourselves.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. So I feel like while I was young, I got married, my first marriage, 19 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was fun, full of life, vibrant, loved the activities, loved doing everything. And then we had our first child when I was, I got pregnant at 20, and she was born when she was 20, when I was 21. And I feel like I had to start learning how to become a mother, right? How to learn how to do the things for our kids. But one thing I will say about me that I was really adamant about was I knew of experiences of marriages where the mother would have a child and then her whole world was revolved around just their child. that they stopped doing all the fun things and the things that her and her, partner loved to do. And that became almost a difficulty in their marriage, because almost like she wasn't no longer that person that he fell in love with and was excited to be with, right? Because she had that child changed her life. Now, on one side, right, that's kind of good, because if you were doing a lot of crazy things that probably weren't good for you, or having, good
Right.
for your life.
You're dialed down.
Yeah, you kind of like, tone it down a bit. But if you were fun and exciting and, love to go do things, and that was the thing that brought you and your partner together, that tends to bring a lot of challenges, right, in a marriage, where, that just becomes a whole nother issue. But what like for me, because I knew I didn't want to do that, I did not allow having a child change the things that I wanted to do in my life. Like, I still wanted to go hiking. I still wanted to go dancing. I was still going to go to the movies. We were still going to go out with this kid on my hip. Like, I think of Gretchen Wilson in her song, right? Where she's like, with a baby on my hip. We were going to go out and just have fun. And that kind of helped our relationship. So what do you think about, what advice would you give to mothers right now, right? Like, those of us have already had kids that are grown. We've kind of learned our experience. But what advice would you give to mothers, new mothers right now, keeping their identity and not losing that when they have their child?
When you're a new mom, that's always extremely difficult, because when the child is small, they require so much more care and like so much more attention. But it's definitely vital to have your partner, include themselves in giving you some space and free time to be able to keep in touch with who you are, or even if it's a family member, or have a couple of hours, which can be difficult when you're a new mom. It can be difficult to step away because you want every moment of your child to be with you, but it's vital, because if you don't have time to recharge, in itself, not even speaking on identity, if you don't have time to recharge, you can get overwhelmed and burnt out. So that time is important, but definitely in that time, friends and family that are outside the household dynamic is important, because you get to, be your old self, have conversations that are not familiar related, and have a good time, and kind of remember and not lose sight of who you were prior to giving birth. So that, that alone time away from the home, even if it's like an hour or two, is very vital and important.
Absolutely. Listen, ladies, I'm going to tell you right now, we're professional Latinas. So here's what happens in a Latina household. We still party. Okay. Even after we have our kids, once we're all healed, we gonna doll up, make yourself look good. Cause when you look good, you feel good. Right.
Man.
That's right. So we go out and we still have a good time. I mean, we're not maybe at the bars and clubbing, but guess what? We have family parties, all the kids be there. You might be seeing on TikTok all these little reels. I always love these, where it's like, how do you know you're at a Latina party? Because you see little kids sleeping wherever on the floor. It's 1 a.m.
Yep. Cousin comes in the room. Whose kid is on my bed?
It's one of the cousins.
Taking a nap on my bed with all the coats.
That's right. So I agree with you. For you young mothers, still, it's so important for you to keep your identity. You want to still keep that fun, the things that you love to do with your partner, keep that alive. So inject your child into your life. You love hiking. If you love dancing, you love going out and traveling, do those things with your child. Your life does not have to change so drastically that you can no longer do those things. All right. Still continue to do the things that you love. That's going to help you maintain your identity. Now, as a mother, right, we shift slightly with our identity, because now we're a mother, right? Before we might have just been a wife or a single person, then became a wife, and that's a new identity. Then you become a mother, that's a new identity. But it doesn't mean it has to change who you are as a person, the things that you love, as long as it's healthy and it's good for your family. So another thing that I would say, so let's talk a little bit about, so we talked about new moms. Now, you and I, well, I'm in my 40s. Are you in your 40s? Yeah.
42. Girl, we're only 18 months apart.
I know, that's right.
That's it.
just so you know, this is a drinking party, okay? I am having a little sippy sip with a
My
little music as a
so hot.
background. So, girls, step up, have your wine, have your rum, whatever it is you like to drink. Sit
Make
down
this
because
your hour alone time if you need be.
that's right. It's like I gotta listen. I gotta get a little Latin here. This is the show. This is where you want to be, because we're very opinionated. Just so you know, that's what's gonna happen here.
Not
All right,
always a bad thing.
it ain't a bad thing. No. That's what we're trying to do here. We're helping you to find your identity again, to find your confidence. That's the thing, right? So many of us sometimes we have so many things going on and we aren't confident in everything, and that's okay. But it is important to get that motivation, to get the help, to seek the support so that you can be the amazing woman that you already are, but to shine right in this beautiful world. We have the right to take up space. We have the right to have the feelings that we have and to speak them. So that's what we're talking about today, is just finding our identity. So now we've talked about new mothers. How about mothers like us, right? So we have children. The majority of our children are older, right? Some of them are gone. Some of them are high school. We have maybe a few like starting to come into middle school. What would you say? So we've been years, right, into the motherhood, maybe even into a relationship. I woke up the other day, probably like 6 months ago, and I was like, who am I? What am I doing with my life, right? I am a business owner. I still have two twin teenagers at home, right? So living my life and doing all the things they want to do. I'm a wife. And I kind of woke up like, man, what do I want to do? What do I want to be when I grow up? Because it was almost like I lost a little bit of, life put me on a path and I just went with it. And I'm a very adaptable person. It's like, oh, this is life. Okay, this is what I got to do. Right.
I think
So
most moms are like that. They have to be.
I agree. We have to just kind of do whatever life gives us. But how do we find that shift and that balance, do you think? What's your opinion on finding that balance for women our age and still learning how to find our passion again?
So I think it's very vital. It can be difficult when you have sometimes more time because it's like, okay, well, what do I fill in with this time? Because it was always taken up by something that I had to do. And using that time to really think about, okay, well, what am I passionate about now? Because it may not be even the same things that you were passionate about before.
Good point.
We change. We have different passions. We have different things that we want to do, and then kind of like rediscovering ourselves, and being like, okay, well, you know what? I always thought about doing this, but I never pursued it. Let me see if I'm still really interested in that. Or, like I haven't pampered myself and given myself time in forever. Let me do that and see where that takes me. Or I haven't had any time for my friendships or maybe making new friendships.
Oh,
All
yeah.
of those things are really important because our identity is never going to be the same as it was prior to. We changed.
Yes.
And there are some things that may be the same, but for most cases, we're completely different people.
Amen. I totally agree with you. From the time I was 19 and I first got married, or even right before I got married, right? I was this wild, crazy girl. Got married, maybe, still wild and crazy, but slightly in a different way, right?
Right.
And I was married, had children. I guess my wild and crazy part hasn't really left me at all.
No,
That's
you're the crazy one of the family, but that's
yeah.
good.
That's
We love it.
yeah. Guys, we wouldn't have this show if I wasn't just a tad bit loquita. Okay. Let's be real. Everybody needs a Latin girl in their life. All right. Everybody needs a Latin friend.
Absolutely.
Only one at least, because trust me, when you have at least one Latina friend in your life, she brings her whole dang family. So you really have like a crew.
Right.
Backing you up. Anyway, okay, tangent. Sorry about that. So let's get back to it. I totally agree with you though, when it comes to, as we have, slightly changed the older that we get, in every stage in my life, I feel like I have changed. I've learned what I like. I've learned what I don't like. I think I've also, what I feel like women our age, the majority of us, we just don't play no more. Like we ain't got time. And I noticed this, and this can be in a lot of cultures, but I especially noticed this again in being a Latina culture. Like we just don't got time to play with you. Like, that's just a no. Like,
Right.
this is not a joke. If I don't like what you have to say, bye.
Well,
I'm
it's
not
like,
playing
and
with
you
you.
should be too grown for that. So why would I entertain it?
Yes. Yeah. And this is, ladies, I want you to know, if you do not have the confidence to be like, let negativity of people, of certain friends, of certain family, I am giving you the permission to be like, no. Okay. You can only be who you are and find your identity and feel good about yourself if you don't have those negative voices in your head or out loud in your ear telling you why you can't do this, why you can't be this, why you can't do that. Nobody has time for that negativity. It's got to go.
What do we say to that?
I
Ay, por favor. We're not doing that.
No, it ain't happening. Okay, ladies. So let it go. Okay, so now I want to talk about, so all right, we talked about like, let's keep our identities, let's keep finding. We do have to redefine them the older that we get. But how about beyond our family bonds, right? We don't want to allow our family to change everything about us. So how can we keep some friendships or get friendships that help us to maintain our identity? What do you think about that?
I think if you are going out and doing the things that you're passionate about, you're going to find your kind of people that are into the same things as you, as far as like finding new people. And finding new friendships is kind of hard nowadays because everything's very hard and easy. It's not very organic anymore where you can like just, oh, we both go to the same park, and it used to be like that back in the day and you made your friendships that way. But also, social media, you can find a lot of mom groups that are into the things that you like, or hobby groups, and you can kind of get to know people, and then seeing like, oh, okay, these are my tribe, these are my people. And that helps you step out of that dynamic of it only being about the family
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Agree with you. Facebook is amazing, an amazing resource for that, in my opinion. I love Facebook groups because you can find your community, like-minded people in there. You can go to the town that you're in and look for mom groups. It is so important to have support, ladies. Like, no matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter, whatever stage you are in your life right now, no importa. Doesn't matter. Okay. Super important to have a community. Sometimes family, now our family is super, super close. So we have each other, right? We are always like, girl, I'm gonna tell you what happened the other day. Okay. And again, we're very opinionated. So we tell each other whether we like it or not, each other
Exactly.
our opinion. But
Well, and two, like, so you're the more sociable one between the two of us. But it was good because like a lot of people that I've met that are friends, I met through you, and vice, like, like you meet people that way also. It doesn't have to just be, through a Facebook forum or something, social media. You can meet them through other people. And that's kind of like person in person networking and finding your type of people.
yes, yes, absolutely. Doing, whether you're a new mom, going to like library, they always have story time. Go meet new moms, be a little bit outgoing, start a little conversation. It might take a minute because a lot of us are scared of rejection, right? Oh, what are they going to think? I'm crazy. Girl, we already know you're crazy. Just, just own it and do it.
What makes you think they're not? No.
I know, exactly. They're probably crazy too, just like
Mhm.
you. So it's just, go out, have fun, find who you want to be. So I have a little exercise that you ladies can do. I want you to start journaling, and we're going to be going through this at every episode. We're going to just give you little tips, little hacks to try and just think about, reflect on it, and notice yourself starting to find your identity, starting to find your voice, starting to find who you are, and being confident in the woman that you are, because that is really the goal of this show. Is I am passionate. My sister Diana is passionate about supporting women, helping them find who they truly are. There is only one life that you live, and it is the life that you live right now. I am telling you, be happy. It is not worth living being unhappy and regrets and all this crazy crap. Like, it's not even worth it. Not to
Life
say
is too short.
it is. And it's not to say that we don't have challenges, that we don't actually suffer and go through things that are so real. But mindset is such a thing. It's so real.
Mhm.
Every day we have to just switch our mind and be like, no, I'm going to find my voice. I'm going to find my identity once again, and I'm going to find the passion that makes me thrive in my life. That is so important to us. That's what this show is about. That's what we're here to help you do. So, little exercise. I want you to get a journal out. I want you to write it down, put it in your phone, whatever you do, girl. I want you to write down, what is it that you are so passionate about right now? What do you love to do? Like, what makes you so happy that you do research on your own about it? Like, nobody, and then if somebody asks you about this specific topic, girl, you could talk about it for days, right? That's how you know you're passionate about something.
Absolutely.
Start reflecting on that and seeing where that leads you. See if that opens up just a whole new world for you. Maybe you turn it into a business. Maybe it becomes just a really amazing hobby that you can share and find a community where you can be like a partner or collaborate or just share the knowledge that you have. I think doing something like that is just going to really help you find your identity again, your passion in what you want to do. What do you think, Di?
No, I think that's really important. I think when you've been in a relationship for a very long time, we tend to put our own passions on the back burner and, help our partners pursue their passions, and it kind of becomes our own. And, you know, then we're like, well, where did that really stem from? Because I was never passionate about that before. And not that that anything wrong with that. If you truly have an interest in that, that's great. But not losing your own sense of identity, because that's so
Yeah.
important, because if that dynamic were to change, that's where women end up feeling kind of lost in who am I?
Yeah,
And that's what we want to avoid. So
absolutely. All right. Any final thoughts? Who are you after raising kids, being married? Like, we didn't get into the whole marriage thing. We kind of went more into the kid thing. But
right.
any final thoughts that you have, just helping women to really find their identity when it comes to whatever their family situation is?
So I think final thoughts, whether you're in a great dynamic of a relationship, in a happy family, or struggling, or maybe even on the out phase of that dynamic where you're going through a divorce or whatever, I think a sense of self identity is critical.
Yeah.
I think pursuing your own passions and figuring out who you are as a person and what your needs are so that you can meet them
Right.
is important. I there's so much that you could go on about that, but for me personally, I have been divorced twice, two very long-term marriages. We have 6 children together. We still have a great friendship, and we're great at co-parenting together. But it, for me, took me a long time to get my sense of identity back, because you tend to wear many hats as a mother and a wife, and you kind of have to contort yourself to fit this schedule of everybody's needs, especially when you have a big family,
Oh,
or
yeah.
even if you have a small family and they have just so many needs that need to be met. So instead of having to go through the phase that I did, which was rediscovery, which can be very challenging in the beginning, but it's very worth it to definitely figure out who you are so that you can find your peace and your happiness. But even more importantly, keeping your sense of identity so you don't ever have to get there to face that challenge and work past it. So just very critical, I believe, for you to continue to pursue your passions and figure out who you are and want to be.
Yes, I love it. I'm in. I love it. No, it's so true. So true. I agree. Whether you're married, not married, but when you have your kids, like, your life changes when you get married or when you get into a relationship, right? Whether you're married or not, you get into a relationship, you take a shift. But especially when you have kids, so your identity is constantly shifting, right? All the time. And so trying to keep in mind that you are important is so key, right? Your children are important. Your spouse,
Right.
your partner is important. Your husband, whoever that person is in your life, they are important. And you giving to them is super important. So
Right.
we're not here to negate the importance of family and relationships. What we are here to say is, don't lose yourself in those relationships and those families.
Can't
Bring
pour from an empty cup. So you have to fill yourself up.
Exactly. Bring your kids, bring your spouse into your life and mold it together to find that happy balance, that happy medium. You don't have to give everything. And here's the deal, and we're going to talk about this in another episode, but
Right.
if you give, and never fill your own cup, feel your happiness, fill your life, baby girl, it's going to be time before you freak out, okay? Going to happen. You're going to be like,
Right.
I'm done, right? You're going to crack, or you're going to be so depressed, unhappy because you no longer can see who you are anymore, right? So our goal here, I want you to keep coming back, girls, ladies, mujeres. We're going to support you.
It's
That's right.
important.
We're here to support you. Find your identity, find your confidence, be the woman that you truly want to be once again, because when you have that confidence, when you have the support that you need to build and find who you really want to be, you're going to be unstoppable, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey, let's go. All right, ladies. Well, we love you, mujeres. We're here to support you. This was your little Latina session, okay? We are going to be your Latina girls right here, your mujeres that are always going to give you our opinion. And so if you like our show, if you like what we have to say, please share it, subscribe, leave your comments below. We are here to support you. We love you. And until next time, let's get loud,
Ladies.
Woo! We'll see you next time.